Maine men's basketball is picked fifth in the America East preseason poll. Head coach Chris Markwood and America East All-Rookie team member Jaden Clayton discussed the team's outlook during the league's media day.
Obviously, to have any type of continuity in today's age and the landscape of college basketball is a huge advantage, and then even more so when you have the type of returners that we have coming back.
From the jump, that these guys were like really bought into what Coach Markwood was saying, and just bought into the whole team chemistry of being what a team is. So I think going into the season, we all have high expectations, and I feel like if your team doesn't have those expectations, then what are you out there competing for?
Season tips off with a road game against Charlotte on November 6th before the home opener against Maine Presque Isle 2 days later.